we can actually talk right now.
This is the one where you
Like
guys-
we can,
this is the part
we
where
can, we can
you fill
actually
time.
banter and let people enter.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in.
Wait, Michael hasn't given us the go ahead yet.
Oh no, we're live.
He hit the button. We're
Oh,
live.
we're live.
Yeah.
This is nothing but
That whole build up of like, I'm gonna hit the button.
yeah. We're gonna go live. I've just made us go live. People are watching.
Just now.
Hey,
Just happened.
hold on.
Right. You got it? Come on.
No, Facebook. You know.
Okay, Facebook might be slow, but I got the YouTube guys up. Now, if you hear something in the background, we're getting a little rain, so if there's a constant flow of water coming through the ceiling, it's just rain. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah.
So-
oh, no, we do have that.
Yeah, there's some
Yeah.
issues going on here in the studio. Don't
You-
worry about it.
You don't see it, but Michael's actually in a
Professionals.
big yellow slicker, just getting drenched.
Yep.
So why does Ryan have these Steve Jobs earbuds on? We have a special guest.
But we're not getting there yet.
He's waiting in the wings, but I'm just explaining this part.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And why KJ has an earpiece?
Yeah. What was that? He's on his way?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's clear. We already have a question asking which gun is better, a Glock 19 or a Beretta 92 FS?
Wow. Okay, we're just going to jump in. Well, you have a striker fire, single action kind of vibe, or you have a DASA hammer gun vibe.
Glock 19 for me.
A little bit easier to run, perhaps. You don't have to deal with thumb safety, decocker situation there. But I was just listening to Ernest Langdon talk about this. He's a big Beretta 92 guy and makes really good ones, like customizes them. And he was making the argument that a DASA, double action, first trigger pull, and then single action after that, is better for most people for defensive purposes.
Heavier on the front end?
Yeah, it's a longer and or maybe heavier trigger pull for the first trigger pull, so you have to be more deliberate with it, and then it's fast single action.
Okay.
We'll
So
let-
you know
we'll
what
let,
I like
our
about
guest
our
comment on
viewership
that.
on here? They like to stir the pot.
Oh, yes, they do.
Luke Capria says 243 is the best deer hunting round out there.
Uh-oh. Just, he's going to do that.
He lit the match, threw it in,
He's
and
like,
walked out.
watch this.
Thanks, Luke.
Fight me. Oh, how about the Canic? No, we're just, is this where we're going? We're just going to go. We've played with the Canics.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
What is it, the TP9SF?
And they're not terribly expensive. Well, normally, I don't know what they are today. They're probably $5,000 today, but usually they're like $600 or something like that. All right, so welcome in Bobby, Rob, Richard. Everybody's here.
We've got them all over here. Hey, last week we were giving away a Tipton gun vise, an ultimate gun vise, and Frank Kratke won that.
Good for you, Frank.
But today we're giving a lockdown puck and a smart plug.
Yeah, those are pretty
So,
neat.
and we were on Guns and Gear Live. We talked about these products. So if you haven't watched that video, go and watch it. But today we're giving away the package, like
Sweet.
$149 worth.
Yeah, we'll get into that more in a little bit. So, welcome in. Gun Talk Live. Gun Talk Live is brought to you by Timney Triggers, the world's finest triggers. For 75 years, Timney Triggers has been making quality triggers in the U.S. for a variety of long guns, and now for handguns as well. The Alpha Competition Series trigger is the new kid on the block, ready to up your game in Glock Gen 3, Gen 4 models, offering a 3-pound pull weight, crisp trigger break, and Timney's signature easy-to-install design. Find yours at timneytriggers.com.
So Lion Pride says Olight PL Pro Valkyrie or Surefire X300.
Oh, my Lord. This is what we're doing today? All right. We're just going to compare stuff.
X300.
Wait a minute. Wait till we get to the topic.
Oh, wait till you get to our top. You're going to love this. You guys are going to argue about it, and we're going to discuss. It's going to be awesome.
Let's just jump into it.
All right. Here we
But
go.
I think you need to provide a disclaimer first.
Disclaimer on this. Graphic content is on the way. That's not a joke. We're about to show graphic content. So, If you have sensitive eyes or you have sensitive eyes near you, you've been warned. There's about to be graphic content being shown. Okay?
Well done.
No kidding. Seriously, it's not a joke. All right.
But we've got to bring in our special guest.
Our special guest, he has strong opinions about DASA. He's been known to shoot a 243. He is the great and powerful Tom Gresham. Welcome in.
I don't have any opinions on anything.
Why am I here?
Oh, no, that's Joe Biden's line.
Oh, uh-oh. Well, I guess we're just going there.
Go for it.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree in this one, does it? Oh, let's poke some bears.
There you go. What are you
So,
doing here?
question, first of all, let's talk about DASA guns for self-defense. Tom, what's your thoughts?
I feel strongly both ways. Which of course. All right, here's the deal. You find the one that works for you, right? I mean, I've never personally been able to master the DASA, switching from like a 12-pound long trigger pull to a short single action trigger pull, the second one. I just can't do it. Everybody says, well, that's just because you haven't practiced. Okay, you're probably right, and I'm sure clearly we could overcome anything, including the QWERTY keyboard on a typewriter and a computer. We figured that one out, so we could do that. For me, I prefer the single action. I mean, if you had my choice, it'd be a 1911 because it has the best trigger pull of anything. But any of the striker fired guns, I like those, and those triggers keep getting better. I tend to like things that are simple. The other thing I have a problem with, and you talk about the 92, it's kind of a fat grip, and I have short fingers, and so for me, my hand doesn't fit it well. If you have big hands, I'm sure it works great. This always goes back to try the gun, see which one fits your hand. Don't get caught up in dogma. And some people like the idea of, I want a really heavy trigger pull for the first one so I don't accidentally shoot it. Okay, I mean, I would say that that's a training problem rather than an equipment problem. But if you don't have the training and you want to make up for that with basically like a New York trigger and a Glock, which is, if they get it adjusted just perfectly, it won't go off at all. And now everybody's safe.
Yeah, let's make it super heavy. But that's not the reason we brought Tom in. So, KJ, I'm going to let you...
Hold on a second.
Yes.
Before this live went live,
Yeah.
we had talked about there's new gun out.
Oh, geez.
There's
Yeah.
giant news from the industry of a company purchase another
I was just
company,
getting excited about the
and
next
we
thing.
didn't hit any of it.
All right. I appreciate you keeping us in line here. All right. Big news that just broke hours ago. Ammo Inc. has come into agreement to purchase gunbroker.com. You're going, wait a minute. Who's Ammo Inc.? Ammo Inc., we've worked with them. We've had them on Guns and Gear before. They make streak ammo. Streak is like that glowing stuff. They make a bunch of different types of ammo. But Ammo Inc., obviously, ammo companies are selling everything they've made this year and for the next 13 months probably. And they're buying Gunbroker for
How much?
$240 million. Yeah. Turns out Gunbroker's revenue last year was $60 million with an EBITDA, earnings before interest taxes, something. They netted $40 million. So that's like a lot.
That's kind of good.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of one of the pieces of new news. We also have product news.
Product news. Tom, take it away.
Sure. SIG announced, of course, they have that very popular P365, which is available in several different versions now. And a lot of people think it's like one of the best carry guns. It's actually established a whole new category of that subcompact carry gun. And now they're saying they're bringing that 9mm out in 380, which leads us all to go, what? But when you think about it, think about the Shield EZ series, a slide that's very easy to rack. I bet if you take that P365 and 380, and we've not had one yet. We haven't handled one. I'll bet you that slide is really easy to manipulate, and that's going to be a big selling point for people.
Yeah, also, the recoil will be less.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the ammo will be harder to find.
I mean, but that's neither here nor there. All the ammo is hard to find. All of it.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
All right.
We can proceed.
Which lead,
All right, thank you.
that leads us to the question, how much ammo do you need in your carry gun? I'll let you guys
Yes.
pick it up and intro this thing.
Yes, so how much ammo do you need in your carry gun? Well, we have a real-world example from this week. KJ, why don't
And-
you set it up for us?
This came out of Montgomery County. What you're about to see is disturbing. It's an officer-involved shooting of a man that had caused a couple of accidents, and he
Car
decided,
accidents.
car accidents, exited the vehicle when the deputy got there and began his assault. By all accounts, the sheriff gave every opportunity to give that guy an out.
Yeah.
Probably too many. But with that being said, let's go ahead and have Michael run the video, and then we'll talk right through it.
Man, shoot his ass! Man, shoot his ass! Shoot his ass! Damn!
Okay. So let's use this as a way to learn and get some takeaways and some lessons from this. I'm glad that the deputy is okay, and it's hard to second guess people because we know when people are in these scenarios, when we do first person defender, they think they're going to do certain things and then they don't. They think they're going to run away, they think they're going to verbalize and tell people to stop, and they stand still and they're totally silent, and things get weird when you have all this being thrown at you. But that being said, there are a bunch of things that we can learn from this. Obviously, Tom, ammo capacity, I think we said he shot 12 times, and the guy didn't drop until the 12th shot.
Yeah, I'm reminded of Clint Smith at Thunder Ranch. He says handgun bullets are like medicine. Sometimes it takes them a while to work. And that was what was going on here. 12 shots. It looked like they were generally center mass, somewhere around there. Point blank. I'm assuming a 9mm, which is what most of the departments are carrying. I mean, when you back up, there were a lot of things that should have happened before we get to that. I mean, the officer could have been moving differently, could have been moving better. Certainly should never have let the guy get close enough to hit him with a stick, because the guy could have killed him with the first blow from the stick instead of letting him break the stick over him. He's shooting one-handed. He's not shooting two-handed. He doesn't move sideways. He could have sidestepped. I mean, there's just an awful lot of things that we talk about in first-person defender, and the kind of training you get at really good training places. But several takeaways. It may want to have people look at it again. One is that you don't see any of the impacts. And people are used to, on the range, switching their vision from their front sight to the target, back and forth, and want to see those hits. And one of the things we do at the range is we'll take a T-shirt and pull it over a cardboard target. Now you can't see bullet hits at all. That's really good training, because you're not going to see the hits. You don't even know if you're hitting or missing. Next, and Ryan, you want to talk about the concept of the zipper drill and what, basically if you're shooting at one place and it's not having an effect, change something?
Yeah, absolutely. So they call it the zipper drill. There's different variations, and you've maybe heard of the whole 2 shots to the body, 1 to the head. But the general idea would be, if you're shooting center mass, because generally most of us...
You can use me as an example.
You're the dummy. What's interesting about the zipper drill is the recoil will take you there. Boom, 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 and you're going up. At this distance, he could absolutely have just done a headshot. I mean, he's literally feet away from this guy. So that was probably a good option, and probably he didn't consider that. He's shooting center of mass, because that's what he's always done, and we can all be guilty of that. You didn't go, oh, I guess I could have ended it right there. And it's one thing that Bill Rapier, who's a former Navy SEAL guy who did some training and did some stuff on FPD with us this year, he's a big proponent of practicing headshots. If you are within a certain distance and you have the time to do that, headshots are better. We're trying to make this stop immediately. And so that's kind of the idea of the zipper drill, or the failure drill is a different idea, which is two to the body, one to the head. But you need to consider those options, that maybe that's a better way to go.
You know, to your point, if I may, I want to just reinforce you're right, Ryan. At that distance, there may not have been a need to actually go to the body at all. I mean, this guy's 5 feet away, not 5 yards. He's 5 feet away. You could just shoot him in the head, and commence to doing that, because we know it takes a while for impacts to work, the bullet hits to work. Typically, it takes 2.5 hits to stop somebody. In this case, it took 12, because you never know. But generally, a shot right literally between the eyes pretty much does the job. And at that point, he is so on top of this officer, you can't let him get another hit in, because the next hit may kill you. So, I hadn't thought of that, but you're right. Maybe you just, at that distance, just forego the body shots and just shoot him in the head.
And there was one point where, at the beginning of the video, when you see him go up to block the strike of the stick, as kids and as adults, and what we tell our kids and everything, as far as like when you're trying to catch something, your eyes go to the target. Your eyes go to the target, and you see, instead of, just one thing I notice is when he goes up, he does this. He is taking his eyes off that threat and onto that stick, as opposed to, let's practice blocking. Let's blade that hand over, and that, you're not catching it at that point.
You're just blocking with your arm.
You're just blocking with your arm, and that's one of the first things I noticed in that, is that you see that hand go up, and you're trying to catch that stick. Well, if he misses that at all, and that's a solid stick, if he misses that at all, could knock the gun out, could knock him out, and then you're in really big trouble.
Yeah. One thing that the officer did pretty well, I thought, was he shot a bunch. Once he decided that it's time to shoot, he didn't mess around. And probably that was encouraged by the fact that this guy was so on top of him. But we see this a lot, again, looking at first-person defender and stuff. People will shoot once, or maybe 2 or 3 times, and they sort of stop. Like, well, is that it? I shot him. And I will say, at least the officer kept shooting because the guy was not down.
Great point. It's that whole deal of, when do I stop? Or when he's no longer a threat. In this case, when he's on the ground, it's when he's no longer a threat. So you shoot until he goes to the ground. Yeah, the officer could have done a lot of things differently. I certainly, from the standpoint of we're not officers and what should we do, I wouldn't let somebody get that close to me if they're coming at me with a stick. And also, I'm going to be moving a little bit differently. Notice that the officer's moving straight back, and you can't move backwards as quickly as someone can move forward who's coming at you. You might want to go on the diagonal. You might even consider this, move forward on a diagonal. Go on a 45 to the diagonal, and that makes the person who's coming at you have to shift. It screws up their OODA loop. They have to reacquire at that point, and you may be in a better position. But frankly, and we've all done this at the range, it's easier to make good hits if you're moving forward or moving forward at a 45 than it is trying to move backwards, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it sounds counterintuitive. Well, I'm going to move towards them. But on a 45 or something kind of off to the side, and if you take off and run that way, even if it's with the gun out and in a controlled way, yeah, you can move a lot faster. That was one thing I observed as well, Tom, is, man, I would be moving backwards much faster or figure out a way to get him away from me, because as close as he was, if he had lurched and dove, because he was real casual in the way the bad guy was walking towards him, if the bad guy had lurched and gone for the gun, he probably would have been in an entangled gunfight, and who knows what would have happened.
Michael, could you cue that up one more time just so we can kind of replay it for folks that are kind of just joining in? Again, graphic contact, guys.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can see
Shoot
what's
his
happening
ass.
here. He's kind of, he starts shooting.
Damn.
Yeah, it was just real shocking, I think, as people watched it, because this is not movie stuff. This is real life. This is how it happens. That many shots to get the guy to fall. It wasn't 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. Now, the question is, did he hit with all of them? I don't know. You would think he wouldn't miss at that distance. But, man, what are your takeaways? You're watching this. What are your opinions, your thoughts, your comments on this?
Yeah.
I'm sure you're getting some comments over here.
It sure makes you reconsider that 5-shot snubby you were thinking about carrying.
Right. Well, it's 5 shots and then run. It's a tactical retreat.
Right.
You throw the gun as like the 6th shot. It's a nice heavy. Don't get a standee.
This is a great.
No.
This video is a great example for people who say, I cannot imagine ever needing more than 10 rounds. Well, this is why you need a better imagination. This will help you.
Yeah. Do police carry guns with less than 10 rounds? Most of them don't.
No.
Why are we required to carry less than that for our protection?
Here's a thought. What if there had been 2 of them?
Yeah, actually, Michael had commented on that. What if 4 guys jumped out of the car? Now what are we doing?
You'd
And
like
just
to have that
another
extra
observation.
magazine.
Yeah, an extra magazine would be good. Extended drum. Another observation is the guy shooting the video in the car. Now, who knows? I don't know if he was just kind of stuck there, but man, I don't know if I would just sit there while the cop, if a cop draws his gun and you're watching him draw a gun, at that point I'm thinking, can I back out of here? Can I get in my car and run? I mean, that was kind of crazy.
Cover.
Yeah. It's amazing.
When bullets start flying, you never know which way they're going to go, or if there's going to be return fire. Now, there's something else we got to talk about for just a second, because there are people who are going to look at this and go, "Well, this guy was he was doing suicide by cop, or he was having a medical event, or he was mentally ill, or whatever." All that may be true, and all that may be very sad, but at the moment, when this person is coming at you, none of that actually matters, because you are seconds away from being seriously injured or possibly killed. And you kind of have to put all that to the side and deal with the immediate situation, which is what's going to happen in the next 2 to 5 seconds.
Right. This is not the moment to try to understand what happened in his life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom, thanks for being on with us.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate this chance to talk about things like this. Also, might as well just promo it coming up on Gun Talk. We're going to be talking about more of the NRA. Big stories breaking all throughout the week. A new motion in front of the bankruptcy court. We got one of the directors of the NRA is now challenging them, standing up. It's about time that some of the directors did something. And you might want to circle back to people who didn't catch last week's show. Our interview with Ted Nugent was quite something, don't you think?
It got spicy on both ends. Yeah.
The way you put it
thanks,
That
guys.
sounds
doesn't sound good.
On Tom's side and Ted's
Spicy
side.
on both ends.
That's a jalapeno situation.
Sounds like a
I
bad
don't know.
night of Mexican
Yeah.
food.
I didn't mean it that way. Jeez. Yeah, if you didn't hear it, we did post, obviously on the podcast, but also on YouTube and Facebook, the interview that Tom did with Ted Nugent. And we love having Ted on the show, but he is on the board of directors for the NRA, and we had to ask him those questions.
Yep, we did. And actually, he did a really good job. After he first started with the whole explanation that was basically the Wayne LaPierre explanation, he repeated that. And when I challenged him on it, he stopped a second, regrouped, and actually had a friend of mine say, I was really impressed. I had no idea that Ted was that intelligent. And I said, I've always said that he's a smart guy. He just lets that rock personality get in the way of it sometimes.
No, yeah, he's a sharp guy. Well, we appreciate you staying on top of it, because where we're at with this, and we've said it before, but we are not at all anti-NRA. Actually, we need the NRA. We want the NRA to be strong, and we were kind of talking about this week. It's like, save the NRA, but in order to do that, the guys at the top probably need to go.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right. The one, the only, Tom Gresham. Yeah. You should hear that interview. It got a little crazy.
It's great. And he wrote a newsletter piece that we're putting out right now. And if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, we're going to have a link to the conversation they had last week and Tom's thoughts moving forward. So go check that out. You can find all that on guntalk.com /news.
Our buddy Chad is chiming in. Chad is a gun trainer guy and somebody who kind of studies this and tries to think through it. A couple thoughts. Dave Spalding's kinetic combat pistol class is all about movement. Dave is another one who really sits around and thinks about this, and he's been there, done that on SWAT teams and that kind of thing. And also, just for what it's worth, Chad says, hey, maybe, as we're just brainstorming, it may actually be better to option to fire a couple of shots and then turn to create distance before stopping again to fire if necessary. Shoot, turn, like really create distance, book it, and then turn to see if you need to.
Turn those hips, run,
Yeah.
keep those eyes on that threat. But and there's a lot that we don't know about this video, and that's one of the great things about being able to Monday quarterback these things is we get a slice of the pie. There's extenuating circumstances, and there are things beyond our view that could have possibly played a factor. You know, with the officer backing up like he was, well, what if there was a car to his right, kind of diagonal, and he was unable to cut that angle?
Yeah.
So perhaps that was his only line.
Yeah, it's hard to know all of what was going on there, and I'm sure if the officer was here, he could explain what happened. But it's okay. This is why we learn from this stuff, and this is why we do FPD, and hopefully you guys watch it, because we never know what people are going to do, and it's always surprising. And we just producing the show, we're going, wow, well that's interesting. You could have done this, or you could have done that, and then we start kind of just brainstorming on ways to handle these things.
And it's tough to watch videos like this. It really is. And you know, we don't wish this on the officer. We don't wish this on the individual. But we need to prepare our minds because stuff like this happens on a daily basis. I mean,
yeah, you're hearing about it all the time.
And one of the ways that we mentally prepare is to go there. And Tom talks about it all the time. And Chris Sereno, what's his saying?
The body can't go where the mind hasn't been.
And
like
that's a great reason to sit there
Tom
on Monday
calls
morning
it
quarterback.
like lazy boy time. You're sitting there in the safety and comfort of your home is the time to run through those scenarios in your head and maybe watch some of this stuff and kind of what if it. And when you what if it, challenge yourself to think about all the things that could go wrong. Not, I'm going to do this and they're going to fall down and like let's challenge ourselves.
Right.
What happens if he starts running at you at full speed?
Right, and thankfully, officer is, he survived. He went home. It's an unfortunate incident, but it's just you got to look at videos like this, and it's not a morbid thing. It's just, man, you got to train that mind.
Yes, yeah. So now we're going to go full circle to the beginning of the show.
Yes, new stuff.
Constable AW. 243? Best deer hunting? I've had one of those 100-grain bullets pass right through them. I prefer a 300 Wisdom as they go down now. Well, yeah.
Touch hair and they're down.
It's just...
But man, we've got a lot of conversations happening up in here.
YouTube's exploding right now.
Yeah, YouTube's just taking off, and it's Luke, it's Tia, it's Boyd, it's all the guys,
all the regulars.
Yeah, but it's easy, and Luke's right. It's easy to say when you have a different perspective and no tunnel vision. I mean,
right.
That's a great observation. We don't have that, and
I'm
I
thinking
hope
if
I
you
never
had-
get it.
If
I
you
hope I
had
never
that
get
guy who was probably 3 or 4 or 5 inches taller than the deputy,
it. Oh, at least.
and he is on you with a stick, you're not really looking around a whole lot. Like, were
Oh,
the other
gosh,
bad guys?
no.
Hell if I know.
No, there's no way.
There was a big guy in front of me.
And he was swinging a big stick.
Right.
I mean, and there's a reason why he went up and grabbed, is because that's what he saw.
I know.
And that the eyes go to catch something, and you're not going to look at that. But I'm sure the guy's in his view. Mm-hmm. But
Yeah.
I got sent that video over this weekend, and it was alarming.
Yeah. It's one we can learn from. So, guys, if you have commented, you are entered to win the Lockdown prize pack.
And we've got Mardi Gras coming up, but
Yeah.
we are continuing next week with our Guns and Gear Live. We're going to be on tomorrow. We're going to be on tomorrow talking new scopes, like 50 of them from Crimson Trace.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really cool. I think we're scheduled to go maybe live tomorrow at 1.
Something like that.
So-
I don't know. We'll see.
1 or 2.
It's rainy, so we'll see what happens here.
But Boyd wants more lockdown gear. Apparently his is working out for him.
Oh, there you go.
But that's good.
I like this one. This is neat.
Yeah, the plug you guys are going to
Smart
like.
plug, you can control it with your phone, so you can turn it off and on like remotely when you're anywhere in the world,
Yep.
which is pretty cool. Hook up your humidifier
Yeah.
to it. Dehumidifier, I guess.
Dehumidifier. Not humidifier. You don't want more humidity, right?
Unless you're in Arizona.
Yeah.
David Ray, train. You got to train physically and mentally. Yes.
Boy, isn't that the truth? To get those heart rate, and I talked to a officer in the gym this week, and he is in his mid-40s. He'd been doing law enforcement 20 years, and he comes into the gym as a white belt, and his eyes are this big, and he goes, "I did not understand how I would react to someone trying to choke me,"
Right?
and he didn't. He was like, I started to panic.
Really?
Yeah, and he said, I didn't know how to manage breathing. I didn't know how to manage my mind and what was going on. It was a flurry, and I was done.
Right.
And if you're not actively doing something active or training, you don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's probably not going to be right, and we're not all John Wick right out of the box,
No.
right?
None of us are John Wick because that's a movie. It's not real life.
I mean, it ain't going to happen.
Does he reload? Yeah, he reloads.
He had all trained for that.
Yeah. I mean,
There you go.
he did train and he got pretty decent, but I mean, it's a movie. There are editors and stuff like that. So, all right, don't get me started. All right. So,
Yep.
I think we've learned a lesson here today, which is it's good to be the owner of gunbroker.com. Steve, congrats.
Well
Had dinner with that guy one
done.
time. He's a cool dude. All right. Well, you guys be careful out there. Be careful out there. And be careful out there. And maybe go get some trigger time, even if it's just dry fire trigger time
Please.
with your Timney trigger. See how I did that? All right. See you next time.
See ya.
Thanks for watching Gun Talk Live. For more great gun content, subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. You can always watch the Gun Talk channels on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon. And of course, you can always find us at guntalk.com. Thanks for watching.